Perfect. Yeah. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for your years of support and everything you do for SSDA. I am George Siraki. The Z usually gets people crossed up. Just throw the Z out of there, and it's Siraki. Um, with that being said, we're fortunate to have partners like you, and our organization is only as good as the people who are part of our organization. As I understand it, we have a rich tradition of having strong associates, and as you know, we have 2/3 of the not all members yet, but they will be. That's one of my charges. Is 600 and some districts that we have access to. That obviously, as you know in your work, sometimes it's not easy to have that access points, and so we want to make that easier for you. My style is not to talk at you, which I'm doing right now. My style is to really talk with you and understand what we need to do to support you. And at the end of the day, also understand where our challenges lie, and hopefully we can put our heads together and figure out how to make that work. One of the ideas we're throwing out there, and I know with associates, getting in front of superintendents is tough. Getting into offices at the districts are tough. So one of the ideas we're pitching and throwing out there is it has to be with somebody, an associate that's working with one of our school districts. But we meet weekly. Coming out of COVID, superintendent roundtable, weekly meeting, 60 to 80, depending on the times, right? Could be up to a couple hundred, just depending on the luck of the draw. Is giving a 3 to 5 minute opportunity for somebody to come and speak to their product as well, or their services, as well as what maybe in the fields a superintendent or CBO can talk and give a testimonial to the successes that the product or service provides. Obviously, there would be a fee associated, but I think when you really look at that piece, getting in front of 60 superintendents, we had examples of that happen most recently where Taylor, you were talking about a bus situation where someone spoke at a meeting, and next thing you know, that person had 3, 4, 5 phone calls coming in because getting out there, getting exposure. You guys have good products and good services. It's just getting that exposure to the superintendents, which is hard to do. Our CBOs may not be there yet, but maybe down the road, even our CBOs who sometimes control some of those worlds of facilities and transportation and the other things they do. So with that, I just want to welcome everybody. Feel free. I'll put in the chat my email and my phone number. My phone number is my cell. So please, I prefer to talk on the phone. Email works, but I'm kind of old school and still like to talk to people. Taylor?
Awesome. Thanks, George. So if that superintendent roundtable spotlight sounds like something that you would be interested in, please reach out to me and we can chat logistics. But we're really excited to start rolling that out and try something new to get you all in front of our superintendents. And George teed me up really well with the chat about the CBOs, so I can go straight into talking about our CBO conference. That's right around the corner. We're looking at our welcome reception on the 18th of October. That's a Wednesday night in Sacramento at the Hilton Arden West. We are still looking for a sponsor for our welcome reception. Right now, we're at 50 CBOs who will be in attendance, which is 15 more than last year. That's quick math. That could be wrong. But we're growing and we're excited to have a big group of CBOs. So if you're interested in sponsoring the reception, we have the estimate around $3,800 for snacks and drinks and a couple of hours with our CBOs. There are also some other sponsorship opportunities available still. There's one keynote sponsor left, breakfast on Thursday morning and lunch on Thursday. So if you want to help us feed our CBOs, email me or Norma and we can get you the logistics on that.
Maybe I'll pause. Is there anybody that just wants to jump on that right now, or they have to run it up the flagpole? Because October 18th is here fairly quickly. run up the flagpole if that's something you're interested in, and Taylor gave you the contact information.
I'm gonna run it up the flagpole, George.
Perfect. Thank you.
Taylor, do you know the approximate cost on the breakfast and the lunch?
Yes, it's in the prospectus. Let me grab that. We have breakfast and lunch both at 2,500.
Would you resend that to me, please?
Yeah, definitely. I can drop it in the chat as well for everybody to look at. Um,
And Taylor, will there also be tables available for vendors to be at, or is it not that type of conference? If we wanted to sponsor a table or have a table, excuse me.
There are 4 booths. So it's a much smaller room than we normally have our conferences in. So we could squeeze in 4, but those ones are already sold out. We were circulating a request for exhibit space for the past couple of months. The deadline to submit a request was the 21st of September. So those are passed. But we still have a lot of awesome opportunities to engage with our folks in other ways. So I dropped that prospectus in the chat for you to check out. And, I always say, like, I'm open to getting creative. If a booth really matters to you, I will find a space in the hallway, we can get creative. Just let me know what return on investment looks like to you, and I can get with Norma and the hotel, and we can, put our heads together and see what we can do. No promises, but I'll try. So just let me know.
May I add
appreciate that.
something?
Yeah.
As a superintendent, booths were my least favorite places to go, even though I appreciate it because, there were other things going on. The social settings tend to get us more networking, and I'm also open to what you've seen as best practices. We continue to do, and I'm not sure, we were talking about this for the March conference, is trying to create a flow that requires people to have to go through. And if we really don't want to have a have to, we want to have a want to, right? So if you've seen something that's worked effectively beyond what we are suggesting, we'd be open to that. We want to make sure that you guys get the traffic you need with the monies that you're investing in SSDA.
Good one.
I'll be in touch with you, Taylor. Thank you for all that. And George.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any questions about the CBO conference? Okay. Awesome. Well, then we'll move right along. We had our kickoff call for the state conference recently. So we're putting our heads together for new sponsorship opportunities. Like last year we did a fun run. We did office yoga, and we are curious if our associate members have any special interests, hobbies, skills that they think our members would benefit from, that we could put on fun, like ancillary events in partnership with you. So we're looking at, office yoga again. I think somebody threw out the idea of a craft room last year. So just putting a feeler out. If there's anything fun that you want to bring to the event in partnership with us, we are ready to start having those conversations. Norma is going to be the point person on that this year again. Yeah. Dan,
I remember, and this is going back quite some time, and I'm dating myself, but the California Association of IT Directors had an MMA match in their basement. Maybe something less aggressive than that, but it did create a heck of a draw, a buzz. Like people were all freaking out about going and watch the MMA match. I mean, maybe a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament, something a little more subtle and not so violent. But I don't know, some kind of crazy event can really get people interested.
that is hilarious.
It was actually, and there's one vendor that they put on a massive bash. It's the Development Group International out of Reading. And it's literally like there's people lined up at the door to get in, and it's a beer pong tournament.
All right. Noted.
Maybe tech directors are real different than superintendents. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I don't know that superintendents are much different. We'd still like to have fun, you know.
Hey,
especially if
the
we
beer
go with-
pong tournament is fun. I can guarantee you that much.
for sure.
Awesome.
I really enjoyed the casino night at last year's conference. It was really fun. If you encourage more people to dress up, you know, there were some people who were kind of dressed in the, in the era.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Give
I
a
know.
prize. Give
we
a prize
did-
for the best. Yep.
Oh, that's a good idea, David. Prizes for the best dress.
Oh,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. Write that down.
Yeah, that's a good one. I know we did a costume contest, not last year, but the year before. And I'm not sure why we didn't do it this year. But that's a great idea. I know Joe picks his suit out like a year in advance from Bright Thinker. So he should probably get a prize just for putting in that effort. Yeah, thank you for that. Any other thoughts on fun ancillary events for the state conference?
Just to harken back on a little more serious note to George's comment earlier, I would love to, or Cyrus would love to, have a opportunity to present to the whole crowd. We have so many SSDA superintendents that are customers and have been for many years. I know that's something that you guys were promoting, and if that's still available, we'd like to look at that.
That's great. I'm not sure what that looks like, Taylor, what they've done in the past or what that was pitched. So I think we need to talk to Norma more about it.
Yeah, we typically put out RFPs. I think they'll likely go out. It'll be posted in November. And in order to submit an RFP as an associate member, you will have to identify a school district or an education leader that will partner with you. So you can do kind of like a case study approach like you're talking about.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd love to do that.
Yeah, awesome. All that information will be sent directly into your inbox as soon as it's publicly available, and it will also be posted on our website, and I'll continue to send it out to you all until the deadline hits.
I know there was an idea thrown out there and we wanted to get input before we got too excited about it. I live in downtown Sacramento, so I kind of know some things that are going on down there. But there's this Fox train. Has anybody ridden the Fox train out of Sacramento? Dave, you must have. Dave. Yeah, supposedly it's a nice train that's about an hour one way, an hour back the other way, and it runs through the countryside. It's supposedly beautiful. What the thought was is, I think they called it the Fox train. I think I labeled the Fox train crawl, where you each have a what are the train called, little cabooses or whatever. Each area, and then people can travel through there, where there's a vendor sponsoring an event, doing something unique around the theme, providing maybe appetizers. And it's a captive audience for an hour one way, an hour the other way. I think the last I heard, they didn't want to compete with the casino night. They wanted to kind of have this as something that was an addition. Some did, at least. Some said maybe we should do just one or the other. But any thoughts of something like that, seeming to catch someone's interest? It wasn't my idea, but I thought it had some merit.
I would agree. I mean, it's similar to some of the AXA regionals that are held around lakes, and so you can sponsor a boat ride with drinks and dinner.
Okay.
And I'm assuming it would weave out of Old Sac. Is that what we're talking about?
I
Out of the
think
train
so.
station?
I think so. I don't know enough about it. It's interesting. One of the ideas I have, because I see them all the time, was those, for you, maybe see them in the city, those bikes that have pedals, and there's like 20 people around it having a beverage, and the music's blaring, and people are having a good time getting to know each other and they go bike rides. That's something Sacramento does. They have 5 or 6 of those. But it's the same thing, gathering of people, right? Where would people want to gather, and what makes best sense for you, and to make those connections that you need to make and build those trusted partnerships. We're open to discussion. I mean, we're open to whatever you think is going to work best, but those were things just thrown out yesterday in a brainstorm session.
So Taylor, if I can ask again, how is the idea of a special ed strand coming along? I know you guys, the board approved that idea last year, and we're sort of waiting for it to take shape. Do we have any updates on that?
Yeah, so as you know, the board has had discussion about creating a roundtable, like our virtual superintendent roundtable with a focus on special ed. But right now, as we're going through this transition period, we are not focusing on adding new programming in. We're focusing on settling into this transition and strengthening what we currently have in place. So I don't have a date for when we're going to launch that roundtable, but it is still a priority of ours to get that off the ground at some point.
That would be a good session for the March conference, just to see how well it's attended and to flesh out, what the issues are in the minds of the superintendents around special education. We would certainly be interested in sponsoring and hosting that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
We hadn't gotten to the weeds of that, but we recognize that based off the times we've come through, and I think we've all been, we want to make it as upbeat as possible and kind of an inspirational type of theme. But then it's kind of, where are those areas we roll up our sleeves? So special ed, we know those are areas of challenge and needs high level of support. Just makes sense to have a strand somewhere tied to that. Yeah.
Dr. Reiner has been a customer of ours for 10 years. And so she might be a good person to talk to. She's offered a number of times to come and work with us on a presentation. We just haven't found the right opportunity to collaborate, but that's the Monterey CELPA, and they've been with us for a long, long time.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Taylor, remind me of the dates again.
For the state conference?
Oh, yes, remind me of the date.
March 10th through the 12th.
Okay, sorry, Craig, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I was just going to say, Taylor, as I shared with you, I used to be a small school district CBO for many years back in the day. And there were many times I wanted to take a sledgehammer to my computer. So I know they have these destruction rooms. I don't know if they have any in Sacramento or not, but might be kind of a fun idea I kind of like Dan's kind of crazy idea. I was just kind of thinking of that. A buddy of mine.
That's a better spin on it, Craig. I like that.
So just a thought. I don't know if they're in Sacramento, but might be something kind of fun.
I've got a computer. I'll donate.
That's
right at budget season, so that would be the perfect time to be, beating the computer up in March.
My impressions of CBOs are changing. They were so conservative, and all, every business I've done with them, but it'd be fun to watch them kind of turn loose a little bit.
Well, that's why I'm a consultant now, George. So it's a whole different world,
Yeah, I understand.
Because I didn't put
where
my
I'm at.
computer up.
I will donate this phone and rejoice in watching somebody smash it with a hammer. Hate that phone. Stupid thing. Waste of $300.
That's so funny. I know one of our board members recently told me that she did an axe throwing thing one night with some of her friends, and she said she loved it. So, a little bit of like controlled chaos can be good.
Yeah, I can
a little aggression out. Rah!
Yeah.
I hear CBOs right now just saying about liability, right? They don't put a squash to anything fun in districts, so be interested to see how they would manage this one in their mind.
Yeah.
You could sprain your wrist smashing a computer with a hammer or something.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I see a comment that I skipped over here. Keisha asked, what about some kind of speed networking setup for us to have a few minutes of dedicated time with attendees during the event as part of the social activity?
That's a good idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good suggestion. I like that.
I like that as well. Thank you.
I'd heard, anybody part, I may not have the acronym correct, but I think it's NIC. It's a national group. They actually go to these conferences and there's a built-in time where vendors, associates, in our case, superintendent panels come in small settings and listen, but give you feedback,
Oh, yeah.
right? What's the term? What conference is that?
ERDI.
Yeah, I got NRDI.
It's ERDI. ERDI. Yeah, we used to do those a lot.
Were they valuable?
They were very valuable, yes.
Yeah, that was the first I heard of it just recently, and then I talked to a few more people, and they said, yeah, that was great because it worked twofold. One, you had exposure. Two, it also gave you feedback with connecting the real problem and to the solution, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times the sales pitch is way off,
Uh-huh.
and you get a chance, to get that feedback directly from your audience, and then you can fix the problems with your marketing presentation. So yeah, I think those are really valuable. In fact, I set those up for CCESA like 10 years ago, and I think they're still doing them. And I just use the RDI as a model, and so they do them at their quarterly meetings. They're still doing them.
Maybe we can blend the two of a speed dating kind of approach with a feedback component.
I really like that idea of speed dating. It's, if you just get a few minutes, something really quick where you get to introduce yourself and you get to it's a great way just to meet more people.
Mhm.
You put more names to more faces. I think that's useful.
We'll throw it out there. I don't know what it looks like from a coordination standpoint, but Norma will tell us quickly what we got her into.
Yeah. That's what Norma's for.
Yeah.
I appreciate all of this input. I will say we do need to wrap because George and I have an 11 o'clock to get to. So we're keeping it to the time today. But reach out to me with any thoughts, feelings, opinions, questions. I'm here for you all. Recap real quick. We still have some sponsorship opportunities available for the CBO conference in Sacramento on the 18th and 19th of October. We are accepting input and ideas for the state conference that will be in March on the 10th through the 12th. And if you are interested in a spotlight on our superintendent roundtable, reach out to us and I will share the details about that. All righty. George, do you have anything else to say before we wrap up?
You did a great job of summarizing. Just thank you guys. Look forward to meeting you in person.
All righty. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.